Chartered Township of Lyon Board of Trustees. It is Monday, November 1st, 2021. We could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let the record show, please, April, that Michelle is ill tonight, and she will not be with us. All right, moving on to the approval of the consent agenda. We have a chance to go through that.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. We'll move on to announcement or approval of the agenda. Sorry. Anybody have anything to add or delete?
If I could, as part of this would be new business H. I also wanted to add the second agreement, which is a letter agreement between the township and Pulte. We could have, I guess, an A and B under H. One and two.
What did she say?
Oh,
Really? Adding a sub-agreement
Another
under
agreement.
H.
yeah, should everybody talk into the mics, please?
I'm getting
Okay, I'll move the approval of the agenda as amended to add H, well, I should say make H HA and add HB, which is letter of agreement with
I'll
Pulte.
support.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're going to move on to announcements and communications. And I have one announcement. We got to welcome today our building official, David Harriman. David, thanks for being here tonight with us all.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
There's a lot of things that we come up with, and it's nice to have your expertise here. Thank you for coming. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we're going to move on to call to the public, and we will have, call the public? Okay. We'll have anything that's non-agenda related. Please come on up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Come on up.
Good evening. I'm Sherry Rogie, 54815 Walnut Drive, New Hudson. I'm here to make an announcement on behalf of the Lyon Township Public Library Board. We wanted to give the board and the community an update on items that were discussed at the last meeting. We wanted to let you know that we have engaged Quinn Evans to help provide professional consulting services to assist in updating the cost model for the Mill River site concept, developing a general concept and costs for a new library at the 11 Mile and Milford Road site, and also to develop a concept and cost for expanding or building on the current library site. We also wanted to let you know that we will be having a community open house in the first quarter, that we can have everybody come in and see the library and hear about these proposals that we got, and make some decisions from there and see what's the best for our community.
Well, thank you.
So, thank you.
Anyone else? Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Keith Ledbetter, 22848 Spy Glass Hill Drive, South Lyon, Michigan, 48178. I am the president of the Homeowners Association in Tanglewood, and you have two items on your agenda tonight, item 11C and 11D. And actually, in the room with me also is Ed Krewall, who serves on the board with me. I don't really have a lot of substantive comments other than to say thank you to Mr. Dolan for your work and assistance helping us through this process of getting an approval for special assessment district. Also to you, Patty, for your help. Leslie, you've been very instrumental, and a number of the board members as well that I've communicated with via email. I want to say thank you. Obviously, after you have a time to review this, and I know there's going to be kind of a series of public hearings, I'm happy to answer any questions. But Tanglewood, this has been something that we've been working for the better part of a decade and actually more. And so when I came in 3 years ago as president of the Homeowners Association, it's something that the community really urged us to do. And so I kind of taken the ball and ran with it. We had over 24 of our community members who actually help with the volunteer process, and so we appreciate that.
But I
Yes.
don't mean to interrupt you, but that's part of the agenda, so we could let you talk at the end.
All right.
for that.
So,
Is that
thank
okay?
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks for coming up. Okay, anyone else to come on up? Talk about anything agenda related? Okay. All right, close the call to the public and move on to reports. The first report is the DDA, and I do have some good news. I think we have someone that may take the director position. We're still working on it. It looks very favorable, and if it comes to fruition, I should have that at the December board for your approval to hire. So I just wanted to put that up there. Other than that, they've been working, a lot of the DDA has been working on promotional things. They did the trunk or treat at the Methodist Church. That really works hand in hand with the DDA. And just some other things. They've got some things coming up, Light Up the Grand they're working on, where they want to have some contests down the main corridor of Grand River. We've got some really active volunteers on the DDA. There's probably 30 people that are very active in trying to promote the DDA. So it's pretty, it's really a good time right now, and everybody's working together really well. But other than that, I'm more excited about the person we got coming. I think everyone will be super excited. So other than that, any questions? All right, we're going to move on to fire. Chief?
Good evening. Tonight I'm proud to announce the successful completion of probation for two of our firefighters, Brad Noyes and Noah Kent, and I'd like to present them with their badges tonight. So first I was going to have Noah Kent come on up and receive your badge for becoming a firefighter with Lyon Township. They'll have to settle for me doing it. It goes without saying that these guys have done an exceptional job. That's how they got through their probation and met all the requirements. They followed the leadership of the officers and their senior firefighters, and that's how they got to this position. Next, I'd like to have Bradley Noyes come up, and he's got some family members, and I'd like to invite all of them up, but his mother is going to pin his badge on him tonight, and I don't think she knows that.
None of them knew.
And in a year, we'll be doing the same thing, I believe, for Ross Pajak. If he would stand up, his father, John, is also here. And Ross is just getting started with us, and he's doing a phenomenal job. So we look forward to his contributions, and that's when he'll get his badge. That concludes my report, unless there's any questions.
Excellent.
That's
Thanks.
a great report. Thank you for that. All right, we're going to move on to Sheriff. Sergeant, Fortier? How you doing? Fortier.
Yes. Sergeant Fortier, for those who don't know me. Just have a couple things to report. The Sheriff's Office is holding its 12th annual Treats for Troops. Leftover Halloween candy can be donated. The closest sub here would be Commerce Township, and it'll all end up in Pontiac for the troops to be shipped out. That starts today, and it ends November 5th, but I would suggest bringing it there by November 4th because it's going all the way to Pontiac and then going to be shipped. We're also doing the coat drive again, Coats for the Cold. That's going to be November 1st through the 30th. You can donate them at the Lyon Township substation. The box is up and running, so whenever you get a chance, bring them in and we'll get them to the people who need them. Also, this month is Men's Health Awareness. You'll notice that I have the blue badge in support of Men's Health, and you're also going to see several members not shaving for the No Shave November. It was very prosperous last year, and we're doing it again this year. So, one other thing, the DEA Take Back was a success. Thank all those who participated in the Take Back of prescription drugs, and that concludes my report unless you have any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Sarge.
All right, thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to the Planning Commission.
All right, I'm still choked up over the guys. I'll never change. Yes, we had 2 meetings in the month of October for the Planning Commission. The first one was Tuesday, October 12th. It was a day late because of the holiday. And we had no public hearings, but we did have under old business the RV storage text amendment, and that was not in the packet, so we tabled it to the next month. And then we also had the Healthy Homes of Michigan site plan review, and we actually approved that. That was all for that. And then our next meeting was Monday, October 25th. And we actually had the RV storage text amendment, and we made some adjustments, and we agreed to move that forward to the Township Board. Under new business, Brian went over some new sign sizes text amendment, and the Planning Commission deliberated over that, and they agreed to hold a public hearing. And Brian and his team really did a good job on that one. I tell you, that was really good how they laid it out. Gave us a lot of information in a lot of different communities. So that concludes my report. Anybody has any questions?
Okay. Anybody? All right, we'll move on to the ZBA.
Well, we had one item this last month that was approved for a fence, and it was due to the location of the septic field, and that was unanimously approved. And this month we have another meeting, and that is dealing with some side yard setbacks and some rear yard setbacks.
Great. Starting to work there, Lisa.
Hey,
All right, we're going to
Brian
move
does all
on.
of her.
Move on to the Park Advisory Board. Robert, anything?
I have nothing to report.
Okay, that was quick. Yep. All right, we'll move on to the water. And the water softening situation is starting to come along. We've had some serious problems with ordering parts and tanks, and things are behind the 8 ball a little bit, but we had a pretty good shipment, and I'm thinking within the next few months we're probably going to be getting very close to turning on our first softening plant. And it's amazing what it looks like. And one of these days we'll have to get together, and I'll take everybody out there and show you the well house on how it's changed. So that is coming along. And other than that, the water has been in great condition. We've had no reports of any bad water come to any houses. So that's a great thing. Other than that, everything's great in the water department. Okay? Any questions? All right, and we're going to move on to public hearing. And this is for the special assessment role for general purposes. And Patty, do you want to kind of let everyone know what that's about before we open up the public hearing?
Sure, this is a public hearing. We do it every year. It's regarding the delinquencies that are usually for water, sewer, grass cutting, and any other thing that's for the general purpose of the township. So these will be rolled on the winter tax bill once this is approved through the public hearing, so.
Okay, everyone understand that?
John, I'll make a motion, we open the public hearing for special assessment roll for general purposes 21-120 for water and sewer delinquencies and 21-130 for grass cutting at 7:27 p.m.
Okay.
It's 7:14.
Good.
My computer says 7:27. All right, 7:14 p.m. Thank you for
Support?
correcting that.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Public meeting is open. Anyone from the public like to come up and talk about the general purpose roles? It's the time to do it. Okay, seeing no one, we're going to close the public hearing at 7:15. we're gonna move on. All right, so we're gonna move on to new business. Special assessment resolution, 2021-24, confirming the general purpose role.
Mine says 2021-23 in the packet.
It should be 23.
It says 23 in the packet.
Oh, I copied the wrong, you got the wrong
Okay.
one. It should be 20. It is in the packet, it's 23.
It is
It's
23.
23. It's
Okay.
2021, 23.
Do you want to amend the agenda to reflect the correct number?
It's in the packet, right? It's just
I just saw
your
it.
hard copy is wrong.
I'm just wondering if we should amend the agenda to reference, just in case someone's looking for it, the right number, what we can.
And your hard copy's probably, it's in the packet, right? The hard copy's wrong.
Do you want to amend that
We
in
can.
the
Yeah,
agenda?
I guess I'll quickly move to amend the approved agenda to reflect item new business 11A. It actually is resolution 2021-23, not 2024.
I'll support that.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We amended that. Now, do you want to make a motion to,
I sure will. I'll make a motion that we move the adoption of resolution 2021-23.
Support.
all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're going to move on to Hudson Town's site plan review. And Brian, you want to start us out there?
Yes, thank you, John.
Hey, Leslie, maybe you could just push that board a little bit this way so this board can see that. Just kind of like.
Towards you?
Yeah, towards the board. Okay,
Is that better?
good. And that one, can everybody see that one? Okay.
Thank you, John. Tim Lofgren is here on behalf of the applicant, Robertson Brothers, and I'm actually stealing from his presentation for the color rendering of the site plan. But in front of you this evening is a proposal for 94 townhomes at the northeast corner of Lyon Center Drive and Grand River at the eastern roundabout. This project has gone before the Planning Commission and has received a site plan approval. The townhome units are 94 for sale units in 20 buildings. This equates to 14 units an acre of density, which is permitted at this location in the new Hudson Edge district. So this is a product type that we are hoping to see and encouraging in New Hudson, getting residential units downtown to help support those businesses that are between the traffic circles. The reason that this is before the Township Board this evening is these are for sale units using the site condo mechanism that the state allows. Any site condo comes before the Township Board in Lyon Township. So all the standards of the site plan review have been met. We have no concerns, no open concerns regarding the project. I'll flip over to the architectural renderings that are included in your packet as well. There were some revisions made to an initial proposal so that there's additional glass on the first level, some increased masonry on the facades. So Robertson has been pretty responsive to all the requests of the Planning Commission through the review process. So with that, you note in our review dated, our letter to the board dated September 26th that we would recommend approval based on the standards of the ordinance and the Planning Commission's recommendation. But I can take any questions that you might have regarding zoning for this project. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions for Brian at this time? Okay, Leslie, you want to add? Oh, you do?
I don't know if it's going to be for Brian or
Maybe
for
the
Tim.
applicant?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I'll wait.
All right, Leslie?
Okay,
wanna
thank
add
you.
anything to it?
I'd like to refer to our October 25th review letter. Just want to point out a couple of items in that. Item number 1, the applicant is requesting to phase the project, and additional correspondence from the phasing has been submitted and is included in your packet, including a map. The applicant is proposing their first phase to be their northern phase. And then also item number 6, the site plan submittal project narrative states that the properties will be offered as for sale homes. The utility plan shows 1 lead for water and sanitary service for each building, with multiple townhomes in each building. We typically recommend individual water and sanitary services for each townhome, and these can be shown on the engineering plans when they are prepared. The applicant would like to request a variance to eliminate the requirement for individual leads per unit, since while each unit will be individually owned, the homeowners association would have sole responsibility for water and sewer leads to the buildings and is responsible for paying the bills. So I wanted to bring those 2 items to your attention tonight for discussion purposes in this item, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for Leslie?
Mine actually, my question relates to that issue.
We
if
can
I-
bring the applicant.
Well, I was just, so it won't be sub-metered?
That would be up to the HOA if they sub-meter them. The
Okay.
township, so what they're proposing is 1 service in and 1, for each water and then sewer, 1 out. If it were going to be if Robertson Brothers were gonna retain ownership of the entire site, I wouldn't have as much of a concern with it, but since each townhome is going to be owned individually, that's what prompts the variance by the board, if you are agreeable to that. I don't have a large concern with their proposal if the HOA would be taking care of the issues, as long as it's very clear in their condo documents, but it's something to consider.
I don't really have an issue with that. My question was really one of aesthetics. You drive past apartment buildings in particular, and you look at the facade, you look at the roof pitch, you look at, the masonry, and it all looks good, and then no one comes in with an architectural rendering showing all the meters that are stuck on the side of the building look awful. And so my question is just, regardless of how they meter this, what is the plan for maybe screening this? Because obviously you're gonna build a nice product here, and it's something that's really in line with the master plan, and I don't really have any concern.
Yeah, we'll spring them up and then
Yeah, and so maybe this seems pretty minor in scope, but I just, how do you guys deal with hiding what is, kind of a necessary evil, let's say, kind of the utilities come into these buildings without it being kind of an eyesore?
Sure, of course.
First, could you please?
Of course. Tim Loughran, Robertson Brothers Home, 6905 Telegraph Road in Bloomfield. Appreciate being here tonight. Good to see you. Yes, so I have the same concern. In fact, by doing the individual meters and individual services, you would have that on the side. This would just be 1 meter per building, so it's beneficial from an aesthetic standpoint. It's also better, if you've got one homeowner that's not paying the bill, then you have those issues. The HOA is covering all of the water and sewer bills, so it's just more effective. And to be honest, every single townhome community we build, which we do a few per year, has this same configuration.
That was my hope, that, it's really going to be taken care of either way, and that aesthetically it's going to look a lot better.
Yeah, I think overall it's better. You have less infrastructure, and then obviously less billing, and it's just easier for everybody.
I was going to ask also, because we get in the treasurer's office,
Mhm.
of course, we get all the calls about if they're delinquent where they're buying and selling.
Right.
So it's just by the whole building.
One bill. It's one bill to the HOA. It's, well, in each individual building, but the HOA would be one billing entity. Yes.
Billing-wise, it'll be a lot easier.
Mhm.
Okay, did you have a presentation?
I do, if you want to see it.
We do like to keep them, 20 minutes or less.
Oh, sure. I can do that. I just have to figure out how to get this
You
up.
should be able to just push the green play button on the screen.
Has anyone seen this project? Has anyone here, have you seen this project? Would you like him to go through?
I would.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Please.
Good. Of course. And just, generally speaking, the last time we've been in Lyon Township, we built these Spring Meadows development. That was probably 5 years ago now. So we've been looking, and we were really intrigued by the new Hudson zoning district. We just thought that was very, just spoke to us. The type of builder, if you know who Robertson is, we do a lot of walkable type of communities, and we just felt this would be a perfect location for what we do. So I'll run through it quickly. Just as a summary, just under 7 acres. Again, it is in the new Hudson zoning district. It's the Edge sub-area. 94 total homes, which conforms to the Edge sub-area requirements as far as density. We call them owner-occupied attached single-family homes. They really are, we feel they are single-family. Nobody lives on top of each other, so I'll show you a floor plan of that. They're essentially, they all have a attached covered garage, and they act and feel like a single-family home. They're about 1,200 up to about 1,600 square feet in size. There are 2 different types of units, one with a 1-car and one with a 2-car. And there's a lot of open space that we're providing just by nature of this type of development. We consider this owner-occupied middle missing housing. So that's kind of a buzzword in planning, but I think it's something that is very important to provide this type of housing for everybody in your community. Prices of homes are just ridiculous. Single-family homes are just unattainable for most buyers. So we're able to provide quality housing, and really a lot of these buyers like not having a yard to keep. Everything is maintained by the HOA. So it's something that I think a lot of buyers are looking for. And again, we build probably 2 or 3 of these types of communities a year. Multiple open space pockets throughout, which I think is very attractive to the site. We feel it'll be a catalyst for the new Hudson zoning district. This, along with the apartments on the west side, I think will bring kind of a critical mass of people living in the area that hopefully will bring up the commercial in the area as well. It is cleaning up a former industrial site. We are proposing a brownfield tax increment finance structure. We have done many of these in the past. This site would have to get cleaned up no matter who develops it. But again, we have the process, and we're moving forward with that shortly. It's walkable. We believe it's walkable to the retail area, tree-lined streets. And again, really that housing option for residents that just are underserved in the market. We feel this is something that we know will be successful with this product. And shameless self-promotion, we've been around a long time. We've built a lot of communities. I think, personally, I think we have one of the best reputations in the entire market. So this was just kind of left over from the Planning Commission, but I know Brian had mentioned a little bit. We made some revisions based on Planning Commission's feedback. We increased the elevations. We added some open space information. We did clarify some of the parking space requirements, and we provided monument signage details. And we have been speaking with the DDA about connection to the DDA property to the north. So from a concept plan, might be a little difficult to see here, but we are proposing multiple open space areas, kind of gathering spaces, if you will, some pedestrian nodes. What we like is the connection to the rails to trail. That was another thing that we really thought was great about this site. Just a usable open space. You can see we're providing quite a bit, over 20% of the site. This is interesting. It's the site context that just kind of shows where we're at in the new Hudson district. We're sort of at the edge of it, which is why it's the edge zone. But again, we feel this would be kind of a catalyst to bring development there. And frankly, we're interested in more development in this area. We really like the potential of this area. These are the elevations. The top was what we first proposed. The bottom is the Planning Commission had asked for a little bit more brick on the sides. You can see we did that, and then, as Brian had mentioned, more fenestration on the front. High quality materials. The front is what you'd see from the road, which is really important. You have your balconies, sort of the eyes on the street, if you will, and it's a very attractive front from the street, which would be both Grand River and New Hudson. I'm sorry, Lyon Center. This is a floor plan. This is the 1-car townhome. It ranges from 1,200 to 1,300 square feet, depending if they choose what's called the optional flex room. We actually call it the Zoom room now. So the buyers would have the choice of either having just the 1-car garage extended all the way to the front, or they can turn that area into what, again, we're calling the Zoom room. But it's sort of like a downstairs living area, if you will. That's been I honestly, I think we probably sell that 90%. It's a very attractive, and it's kind of a cheap way to add additional square footage for the buyers. As you get up to the second floor, you've got a very open living, dining, and kitchen area with a powder room. and then you get up to the top floor and you have the two bedrooms. So you can see nobody's living on top of each other. These are all basically contained units. The two-car is a little bit bigger. It's about 1,600 square feet, sort of the same concept. It's a little more gracious with the living room, the kitchen, the dining room area, and you see the deck. The decks on this they're actually on the front, not the rear. But this one, the buyers have an option of either doing a two-bedroom with a den or two large bedrooms instead of that, which I'm not showing here. I'm showing the den option. And this is, some families with small children, they've been selecting this in other communities. And the nearest community that we are building this would be downtown Brighton. Again, elevations showing the front, sides, and rears, which we increased the brick quite a bit on this development. First one was the one car. This is the two car. This is just basically right out of your zoning ordinance. So again, we really focused on your new Hudson zoning district. We just felt that was something that you were telling the development community you wanted to see this type of development in your area, and for that really kind of set us on a path to where we are today. That's all I have. I'm happy to be here and happy to answer any questions you may have.
So, are these very similar to the Wixom project? I mean, they look similar to the inline.
They are. These are upgraded elevations. We had several different types of townhomes in that community. The most recent ones we were building, yes, this is very similar to that.
So what's the sale point on these?
It's tough to say. I'd say we're going to try to start in the mid-200s. That's difficult with construction costs the way they are today. But that would be our hope, is that we can start in that area, which
Super
again,
affordable in these days.
That's really the key. To buy a single-family home, we can't build one for less than $400,000, which sounds ridiculous, but that's just the way it is today.
All right, will anyone have any questions?
I had a quick one for either Brian or Tim. Has the road commission expressed any concern regarding turning movements on the Grand River Drive? It's pretty close to the roundabout. It doesn't look like there's any kind of restriction in the driveway, but I just wondered.
We haven't had them weigh in formally yet.
Okay.
I know our engineer, Brad Rickle, has had some conversations with them initially. I don't think there was any issues with that specifically. But no, I don't have it. That would be during the final engineering process.
I believe the speed limits are really, I think, probably 25 miles an hour at that point, so that's probably why this is...
I think it's 35 on that side of the traffic circle right there, but...
Oh, it is? Okay. I mean, the other drive is further from
right.
the roundabout, but okay.
And then on the Grand River side, that's using the existing curb cut that's already there. So
Yeah.
the road commission, I'm assuming, left that there when they reconfigured.
Yeah, I mean, there's a driveway that actually the flare on the driveway goes out in front of it. Looks like in front of your parcel to some extent. So there's really no place else for that. So I just wondered, but okay, thanks.
Go ahead.
I have a question for you.
Sure, of course.
Will you be actively marketing this as being located in New Hudson or in South Lyon or in Lyon Township? Because you're not in South Lyon.
Oh, trust me, I know that. I think we did a pretty good job.
Next time.
Did it say that on my architecture? Oh, well, I'll have to talk to my architect on that.
Yeah.
No, we know the drill from Spring Meadows. Hopefully we did a good job with that. So I think we've fully bought into the New Hudson concept. So yes.
Okay. So
I mean, Hudson Towns.
Just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Anyone else?
I do have one question.
Sure.
It's kind of either between you and Leslie, but you mentioned in the presentation, which may have actually answered this question, but I saw in the plans that you were cleaning up the site, removing contaminated soil from the site. We've had developments come in the past and not remove the soil and just have left it on site. So I guess what kind of mechanism do we have that triggers the removal of the soil? And I think the answer is that brownfield brownfield tip, basically. Is that kind of the route you're going?
Yes, so we'd have to bring it up to residential standards, and we'll be dealing with Eagle on all of that. So it's trichloroethylene, which it's not great stuff, but we've already gone through our initial studies with our consultants. We're working through the plan right now to remove it fully. There's a kind of a high groundwater table there, so that's one concern we have. But I believe we'll be able to, well, we will get it all out. If we don't, we have to do a passive system, which we don't like to do. We like to remove it fully. So that would be our proposal to do that. And again, Eagle will not let us build anything without having it up to residential standards.
Appreciate it, thanks.
Of course.
Is that contamination on the south side by Grand River?
You know, it's actually sort of, do you see where our middle courtyard area is? Off the main entrance off, yeah, right there. No, right, a little bit further down. That one. Up. Right there, right there, right there, right there.
It's shown on the phase.
Yeah, that's sort of where the hot spots are. We've done a number of drilling exercises to kind of pinpoint where that is, but yeah, it's mostly in that center area. That's where the building was, or actually the back of the building was. They were, I think it was probably parts cleaning is typically the culprit for that.
There was a little factory there for years.
Yes.
Brown Auto Stuff.
Yes,
And-
that's where we're purchasing from, yeah.
Okay. I think it's a great little project, and I think it's nice to have affordable homes in the downtown. I think it would work real well there.
Yeah, we're very
We're asking
excited.
for rooftops, and these are the areas where the density should be the most extreme. So I'm all in favor of it. Anyone else want to say anything, or motion be in order?
All in favor of it, that's for sure.
I'll make a motion to approve the condominium documents, or like, what is the technical, is that what we're approving?
Site
You'll be
Site
approving the
plan.
site plan with the use of the site condominium.
Okay, sorry, so approving the site plan and use of the condo for Hudson Town's AP 21-31.
I'll support.
Yeah, sorry.
I just want to add, just make sure that the phasing and the
Right, sorry, do we have
the waiver for the utility.
I would put that in.
all right,
Please.
sorry, also.
Thank you.
Approving the waiver of the tap fees for.
It's not tap
Sorry,
fees.
it's not tap fees.
It's the waiver of the requirement for individual leads.
Oh, I thought you said that was a ZBA issue and we were,
No, it's a utility ordinance issue.
okay. Sorry, I
That's
guess
okay.
I did not have everything straight in front of me then. So, adding to that, the waiver of the individual
The requirement for
connection
individual
requirement,
leads per
sorry,
unit.
requirement for the individual leads per unit.
Okay,
Is that,
And phasing plan.
yeah, you got two phases, right?
And
Yep.
okay, sorry, I thought I said that part already.
You
I
may
got
have,
myself
sorry.
all twisted around here.
Okay, we got that motion good?
Do we I guess, yeah, do we have all the pieces we need?
Did you say? Yeah, I think I got it. I got the second part, approving the waiver of the requirements for individual leads per unit
Okay,
phasing.
so do we have the, yeah,
And what
two?
was it?
And the phasing plan?
And the phasing plan.
Yeah.
Okay, you good with that?
Yes, sorry, I thought this was gonna be simpler.
Second for you?
Yes,
Good?
perfect, thank you.
All right, we have a motion. Anybody?
I'll support.
All right, motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Yeah, I just had a concern about it, in line with the water meters, is gas meters, individual gas meters.
Those have to be, yeah, consumers
Right,
will
they
not
have
let
to
us,
be.
they will not let us go through other
So
units.
you're gonna show the board a location of those
Those-
when you figure that out?
Yeah,
The
typically-
gas company actually, I think, figures it out.
We put them at the front of the house, which is not ideal, but that's really the only place that we've been doing that. So each individual unit would have its own gas meter at the front.
And then another one would be air conditioners. I
The-
know they're all individual,
Yep.
but the location of those would probably be a concern.
Sure, they're on the site, they're on the landscape plan, and we do have low fencing to screen those from view.
Okay, so we had those concerns over there at Watermark that were dealt with.
Yeah, the planning commission had that same question about the HVAC stuff. And
Yeah.
they're in between and there's landscaping in front of it, so they won't be visible from the road at least.
So they're all clustered on the building?
Yes, we usually put 3 or 4 on the side of the building.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much, have a great
Thank
evening.
you very much. All right. We're gonna move on to the approval of the resolution. Now we're at 21-24.
That's right.
The tentative declaration of intention to make improvements to the Tanglewood Golf Community Road Improvement Project Special Assessment District, SAD. And we do have our bond counsel here that would like to stand up and kind of give you the steps that we'll need to go forward.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board, administration. Thanks for having me here tonight. My name is Eric McLaughlin. I'm a partner with Dickinson Wright and a member of its public finance group. The resolution that's before you tonight is the first step in a relatively lengthy state law process to establish an SAD, to assess the costs of a project, and to ultimately finance the costs of the project through the issuance of bonds. The process will include 2 public hearings and notice mailed to the record owners in the Special Assessment District and provide opportunity for the residents to be heard. The resolution tonight establishes the Special Assessment District. It declares your tentative intention to make the improvements, and it sets the first hearing for December 6th at 7 p.m. And with that, I'll take any questions you may have.
Does everyone understand what's going on here?
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Eric, for coming. I
Yes,
really
thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much.
Thanks for having
It
me.
was nice to meet, for them to meet you. We see you all, we get to see you and talk to you, but it's nice for the board to see that we're well represented.
Thank you.
So,
It's nice
thanks.
to meet you.
So basically, we have a resolution in front of us, and again, Mr. Ledbetter and Mr. Prewall, I wanted to thank you guys too, because, before you guys got involved in this whole scenario, we had Greg Dobson that had come up, and he'd put a number of hours into trying to get this through, and it's a project. It's not anything that is very easy, and this board requires quite a bit of participation, and you can kind of understand why. And I know it was a hard job, but you guys did that. And I'll tell you, getting 70% of anybody in a neighborhood to sign on to anything is amazing.
Especially when you're talking about these
Yeah.
kinds of dollar figures too.
It will make everybody's house, and they're already beautiful homes. It'll just make them worth that much more, and it's all good. But I wanted to also thank you guys and Greg Dobson and Carol. Carol worked hard on this along with Patty. Everybody worked really hard. I know you gave me credit. They did all the work. I've just been back trying to watch what was going on. But you guys put a lot into this, and I think everybody in your neighborhood will appreciate it at the end. And it still is a little lengthy process, but we have to go through the steps. And thank you, Eric, again for coming and letting us know the procedure. So that being said, I think a motion's in order to get this resolution on the table, if everyone is good with it and have no more questions.
Can I just clarify, so they already did the petition to request
all the
this, so
legwork,
this is
yeah.
not, okay.
They got 70, I think they had 72% participation in signatures, which is really great job.
I'll move the approval of resolution number 2021-24, tentative declaration of intention to make improvements in the Tanglewood Golf Community Road Improvement Special Assessment District.
I'll support.
All right, we have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great. Now we're going to move on to the Tanglewood Golf Community Road Improvement Project Special Assessment District Engineering Design Proposal. Okay? So everybody have a chance to look through that? And I think this was part of the initial estimate, right?
Yes, it's based on the estimate per our contract with the township. So in packet, there's a map that shows the limits of the project. All of the roads within that boundary would be at least a mill and fill. At a minimum, Country Club Drive, we expect to be much more significant due to the condition that it's in. And there will be phasing plans developed as well, so that as the contractors start a phase, they'll also complete it before just, like, the last thing we want is a contractor to come in and mill the entire neighborhood. So there are things we've already started thinking about on how to structure the bid documents, but our proposal is in your packet tonight, and it's based on the estimate that was part of the Special Assessment District petition.
And I think this is crucial to getting the project moving. Anyone have any questions? Anyone want to move this forward?
So I'll make a motion to approve the Tanglewood Golf Community Road Improvement Special Assessment District Engineering Design proposal from CES. Let's say dated, I don't see a date on it.
Put in
10/23 is what's in the packet.
Yeah, it's in the file name. They dated October 23rd. For let's see, for a survey amount of $9,656 and engineering design and bidding for $115,878 for their contract rates with Lyon Township.
I'll support.
Okay, motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, guys, thank you very much, and I think we're on the road. We're on the road to paving.
Get going, Eric.
Thank you, guys. Thanks so much. So the next process now, will we hear from you to figure out the what balls in it?
It'll be a hearing next month, right? Yeah.
That's correct. I've already spoken with Michelle Cash about the notice of hearing. The notice of hearing was provided in the packet, and that is the form of notice that will get published twice in the South Lyon Herald, and a copy will be mailed to each of the record owners in the district, and that will set the first hearing. Later on in the process, the same process for notice publication and mailing will be taken with respect to the hearing on the roll, which will be once we have the design engineering completed, the bids received, and we know the total cost of the project. It could then be spread across the special assessment roll, notice provided, hold the second public hearing, and confirm the roll. And that's the back end of the special assessment process before you get to the bond financing.
Perfect. Any questions? All right, wonderful.
Just
Move forward.
to let you guys know, it'll be on next year's winter tax bill.
People have been asking.
Yes, that's when it will be, because that's actually our tax bill, the township's tax bill.
So that's in its entirety would be on there. It was not
There-
split between two tax bills.
Right, that's right. Yep,
Thank you.
yep.
Okay, thanks a lot. Moving on, consideration of approved sidewalk and driveway inspections. And I'll kind of give you the reason we're bringing this up is we're having a lot, and Dave can talk to this also, we're having a lot of problems where they're not preparing the base of sidewalks and driveways right. They're not putting the right stone in. So what's happening is they're holding up for a period of time and then coming apart because the base isn't there. Okay. Now, the reason that happens is because we don't have inspections for them. We're basically letting them go ahead and on their own accord, and some of them aren't doing the best job. So what we're asking to do here is making, if you can give us the fees, and they're low, you can read the letter, there's 2 inspection fees, maybe $120 total. And we can make sure that these sidewalks and driveways hold up. And that's what this is all about, is to making sure that you guys agree with the fees so we can inspect them. And I think we have some problems right now with sidewalks that are cracking, and we're finding out that, am I right, Dave?
Yeah, so what happens is, after the HOA takes over from the developer, the driveways obviously and the street sidewalks are all the responsibility of the homeowner. And it can take 2-3 years 4 years before this starts showing up. So now it becomes, a burden on the homeowner. And the ones that we have seen that have gone and had to be torn out of there, the flags is what they call them, sections of the sidewalk, the base is not done per engineering standards. And that's all we want to look at is some. Now, some of them they do what they're supposed to do. They got their base in, they put the concrete, they got the right slopes on them, but some other ones are not done as quite as well. So we're just trying to eliminate some of it. You're never going to eliminate it all. I mean, it is Michigan, concrete, frost, that type of stuff, but we're trying to get rid of a lot of them by doing this. So our fees, we figured there's going to be at least 2 inspections, and then there's at $35 each, and then a $50 administration fee, to do the paperwork and everything like that. So that's why we're doing it.
Okay, everybody understand that?
Yeah, I mean, I think a flag of concrete on a sidewalk probably costs a couple $100 to break and replace, so this is cheaper than the alternative, which is to have someone kind of unknowingly stuck with a poor concrete job when it could be avoided for a pretty nominal fee, so I don't have any objection to it.
Okay.
Would you have to be there during the actual concrete portion as well?
No. What we're
Is
gonna,
this just the
we'd be there
base?
for, just the base. And then when they're putting the base down, just so you know, the form is set. So you got a 3.5-inch 2x4 for your driveway and your sidewalks. And they're gonna fill the 3.5 inches of fill below that. So then they're gonna pour to the top of the concrete. And then the sidewalk between the driveway and the approach itself is a 6-inch pour. And that's a county standard as well.
Dave, do you and your current crew have the ability to take this on as a part of your daily set of inspections? You won't need help to do
No,
this?
there's only 2 inspections, we hope, per house, so.
Sure.
Because that's gonna be the sidewalk goes in typically after the driveway's done, so they can still get in and out of the site.
Okay.
I know we keep saying concrete. Is there any difference that would happen in the process if it was an asphalt driveway, for example?
Asphalt driveways, we don't see them in any of the developments. They're not in the developments. They might be off sites, up and down, larger lots or something like that. And then we really didn't consider looking at those.
The base would be the same though.
Okay.
Yeah.
What you're looking for.
It seems like a pretty reasonable fee. My question is, would that be enough to cover if this is a corner lot and you've got 2 sides that you've got to inspect, or is that not going to really be much of a difference?
Well, we put in the 2 inspections, and then if it goes over the 2 inspections, then we do like we do on our re-inspection, take it out of the bond.
Okay.
Then that would be a $35 fee if we had to come back for a 3rd trip. Then sometimes we're going to have to go back for the 3rd trip because the first trip, it's not going to be right.
Okay.
Sorry, that made me think of another thing here when you were talking about possible frontage length and what might be longer. Is this specifically only for the residential application, or would we also or do we currently inspect the base on?
Leslie, that's currently done, correct?
Yeah, we do when they're commercial developments, we do spot checks on them.
Okay. So that's just part of your engineering checks?
Right, and the difference in those cases too those are typically built by general contractors that have appropriate subcontractors working for them. And we don't see as many issues on the commercial side with this. It's really more in the residential home building that we see the bulk of the issues.
Right, so you have say for on truck docks, it's quite extensive in there, you got more fill, you got 10, 12 inches of concrete, so they follow the rules a lot closer.
I think the difference is too, in a commercial application, whoever's building it is going to own it and continue to own it, and so if they hire someone who doesn't do a good job, then they'll pay for it twice. It's different when you're building someone a home, maybe you don't do as great of a job, and now someone, again, 2 or 3 years later, is stuck with something that isn't, covered under a warranty anymore, and now it's hundreds of dollars for repair, so.
Right, and there's always a third party out there inspecting their work, as well as us. So they have testers out there, engineering firms that test for everything they do.
Okay. Sounds good then.
Okay, so you think 120 is good?
Yep.
Okay. Anybody like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion to approve the fee for the inspection fee of $120, sorry, per sidewalk and driveway inspection, as recommended by our building official, Dave Garman.
Support.
All right, we have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect. All right, we're going to move on. Recommendation for engine 2 replacement. Chief? I think there's another replacement coming too.
What's that?
After I seen you stand up. Is there another replacement coming?
Yeah, it's that obvious, huh? Yeah, there is actually. For months, our apparatus committee has been meeting, led by Assistant Chief Madeline, and they came up with 3 recommendations as far as replacing our aging engine 2, which has had a lot of problems. And we broke it down to Pierce, Meal, or Sutphin. If you remember when we bought engine 1 back in 2018, the price ended up being around $680,000, and you can see that prices have gone up substantially. And so after a review of different criteria that included whether they were single source, proprietary parts, engine specs, transmission, warranty, customer service, and so on, and we decided that we would request the Sutphin engine to replace our engine 2, and the price is at $853,000 and change. And if we paid it up front, then there would be a savings of over $21,000, which brings it in the $60,000 or so less than the highest bid. One of the issues also is the lead time, that even if we were to get this thing ordered tomorrow, we're still not going to see it until 2023 because we're getting an average of 14 to 18 months is kind of what we're being told. And maybe it'll be quicker, but they want to kind of under-promise, over-deliver. So my recommendation would be going with the Sutphin engine. And the way, I mean, as far as how we pay for that, that's up to you. But I guess I just took the example of what we did with engine 1 last time, where we pay it up front and then pay the township, however that works out. Okay. Is there any questions on the selection?
I had a quick question on the lead time issue. I mean, you're talking, at least 14 months now, and engine 2 has been problematic for quite some time. I mean, it spends as much time in the shop as it does in the station. We have an old engine that's 20 years old. That's our engine 3. Is that what is going to, for the next 14 months, be the habitual replacement for engine 2? Do we have like another, I guess, Band-Aid solution, or are we going to have?
Well, there's other things that have been considered as far as, I really don't want to go down the road of like borrowing apparatus or purchasing used apparatus, but it is kind of the problems that have grown with engine 2, have increased in the dollar amount. So it is kind of a which is going to happen first, engine 2 completely failing or we get the new engine. So engine 3, we've been keeping that up, up to date, getting all the preventive maintenance done on it. And I'm pretty comfortable at this point that we can use that as sufficient backup engine because we've had to numerous times.
Okay.
So engine 2, you're just absolutely, we can't put enough money in it to keep it going for 14 months. Do we have that major of problems with it?
You want to take this one?
No smiling back there.
It's been, I'll let.
For the truck, it's truly a guess. We had it in for turbo repair a little over a month ago. I think it was a little over $6,000 in repairs, and the truck was out of service for almost a month because we were just solely waiting on parts from Cummins that were on national back order. We got it back. We were hoping, we should be good for a little while, and it didn't make it a week when we had a transmission shifting issue, which fortunately was a very easy fix. It was a broken wire and a harness, but the problem was it was the repair time on getting that, and that's why that repair was so much. The truck was back within a week on that one. Just when we think we're getting ahead on it, and we're going to be good for a while, something else goes wrong. Knock on wood, we made it for the weekend, so we're looking good right now.
How many miles are on that truck?
The truck has got almost 95,000 on it, and I don't know where we got the math, but the guys were telling me if you do the mileage math and take the engine hours, that equates to about 400,000 miles of engine miles on the truck with the hour time that it sits running on scenes and such. So it is at its life's end, and we are definitely in dire need of replacing that apparatus.
Well, I guess with going back to Sean's question is, do you feel comfortable that that's going to last us? To use 3, how many miles has 3 got on?
Yeah, things like a dinosaur.
3, I would have to double check. It's not quite as high, but it is definitely at the end of its life cycle just for age in the apparatus. I know the guys absolutely love driving that over engine too. One of the biggest downfalls for that apparatus is we have outgrown the rear end of the truck. It was built as strictly a fire engine, not as a fire rescue engine, and we carry a lot more on our apparatus now that when we transition into that truck, we have to pick and choose what equipment we're putting on it at this time.
So we are paying, if we pay it in full, getting a $21,000+ credit. Do we have the ability to tell them to keep the credit and speed up the build on our truck? Can we pay them to build it faster because we absolutely need it?
I don't, I mean,
I don't think so, but I haven't directly asked that question like that. 'Cause
So
it's
if our
usually your
incentive is given back to them and said, take however many months off of the build. I mean, every month is going to cost us money with one of those old trucks because they're way past their prime. So you pay it now or you pay it later. So to me, I would rather just have the newer truck faster, even if we have to pay. I mean, we have to pay more for it.
yeah, and that's a good question. I'm not sure what the option is, but we'll be on the phone if this goes through and.
Well, I don't
having
think
that
there's
discussion.
anything, we gotta make this go through.
Well,
I mean,
and
we've gotta get it started, right?
And I guess I would say my preference would be to support a motion, and I'm not trying to jump ahead right now, I'm just saying to give them some flexibility if they have an option to pay an incentive to have it. I mean, that happens in many industries. You incentivize somebody finishing quicker. So finish the build quicker and pay, you know, maybe that's not the dollar amount, but I would be curious to know what the dollar amount would be, because 14 or 16 months is like an eternity when every 30 days you're spending untold amounts of money on 2 trucks that should be retired.
And I even think we're seeing the hesitancy of anyone committing to something quicker because
Sure.
there's just so much uncertainty going
Right.
forward right now. But we'll definitely float that out there tomorrow.
Well, let me ask you this, so we picked this one, but what about the other 2? Any of them produce anything quicker?
From talking with the other vendors, all of their lead times are the same, if not longer. And we were here, I've heard, the longest I heard was up to 18 to 24 months. And some of the lead time, just because of supply issues. That's the biggest issue, is every time you turn around trying to get a part for an apparatus, they're on back order or they can't get them. So that's the biggest thing that slows us down, is the uncertainty of
So they
parts.
build it, it's a 2021, and when you get it, it's 2024, and it's already old.
Well, and I mean, last week when we had our budget discussion, I think we talked about how one of the other vendors, there were quality concerns based on other experiences, and the other one, there were performance issues, and we were reaching maybe a maximum capacity of a vehicle, which is kind of where we're at with one of the ones that we're trying to rotate out. So it seems like this might be, not our only option, but certainly our best option, even if, long term, if that's, did I hear you correctly?
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
If you want to buy 2, we'd probably save a lot more money and get them faster. So.
Yeah.
Ken, when will they expect payment?
That, I guess it would just be based on a conversation, we want to kind of, if it's I don't know. I mean, I would imagine they would start with I'm trying to remember what happened with the 2018 engine, if it was, I think we ended up paying the whole thing right up front.
Yeah,
But
we
I'm
borrowed
thinking
from
that we,
Old National.
yeah, we wanted to get it, in Brighton, I believe. So we were hoping to get it started in, this month, and I'd have to get all those details for you.
Well, I would think if we needed to get it started and there was some other process, that we would just simply pay it and then worry about getting it squared away. at
Yeah.
that date, right? I mean, I wouldn't want to hold it up a month or 2 because of some sort of a banking hiccup when we've got the money to pay for it now.
Right, and we are looking at this as borrowed time as well, keeping Engine 2 alive, but we also need to sit down, finalize specs, and make sure that we're getting the exact truck that we're paying for. So we're expediting this as quick as possible as well.
I think the key is just to get it moving.
Yeah, that's why I did wait till January.
Somebody want to make a motion to move it forward?
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation of the fire department to purchase the Sutphen fire truck for Engine 2 replacement at an amount of $832,000. Well, How do we want to do this? Do we want to say not to exceed $853,930.12?
Probably best.
That way, if we
Support.
can,
Yeah.
Little wiggle room.
that is the bid amount. That gives us flexibility if you do find an option to accelerate the construction of the vehicle with that potential savings for one-time payment.
Okay. Anybody want to support that?
Chris did. Support.
You did?
Chris, yep.
Speak on the microphone, I didn't hear you. No.
I know, he just wouldn't stop.
I wouldn't stop.
So
All right.
it was hard to.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
All right,
We'll
thank
chat
you.
about
Thanks.
the money.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, we're moving on to consideration of approval of Amendment 1 of the lease agreement between Oakland County and Lyon Township. And I'm going to tell you, this whole process, I know Carol has taken and talked to Oakland County's attorney, and I believe this entire project is they're updating all the system, the phone systems and public safety radios and going to the tower. And in this lease agreement, I don't think it's going to cost the township anything, but they want to make sure they have it till 2037.
Yeah, and the original lease was, it kept extending out every
Yeah.
5 years anyway. I think this is just to make sure they recoup their costs, you know?
Yes,
Going into
and I think in a
2037.
good way, this is good for the
Yeah,
township.
it's updating the system.
Yeah, it's updating the
They're doing it
system
all
for
over
us.
the state, so.
And this basically only uses the tower and the little small building back there, right, not the main station.
I don't know what they use actually, but.
Right, okay. We had potential conversations about some modifications to Station 1 in the future, and this wouldn't interfere with that.
No.
No.
All right,
Yeah.
very good.
Okay.
No, I had the same questions as Robert. It's just the 10-foot easement around the thing, that's not gonna come in conflict if we were to do anything with Station 1. Doesn't appear that way, but
I think it's pretty much running on the boundary line, property line to the water tower already and the station, so I don't think we go too far that way, and then it's got it cutting across right in front of at the edge of our concrete, right in front of our training building.
okay, and none of that stuff would have to be
Correct, yeah.
impacted or expanded. Okay.
So, this is an easy one.
Yeah. My only question was, is the fire department is fine with all of this? There's no interference? I think that's where we're at. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody would like to make that motion?
I'll make a motion to approve amendment number 1 of the lease agreement between Oakland County and Lyon Township for a new countywide public safety communications system at the Station 1 located at 58800 Grand River Avenue.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, now we're moving on to the biggie. This is a consideration to approve the intergovernmental agreement between the Chartered Township of Lyon and the Chartered Township of Milford to provide water service to certain properties within the Chartered Township of Milford. And let me tell you, everyone, this was a major project. And Carol, I don't know if you want to talk at all about it, or if anybody has any questions about it, but believe me, we worked hard on this. Everybody's worked super hard on this. And I think if you read through this, it's a pretty good contract for the township. Anyone have any thoughts about it or any questions? I don't know if you guys remember how long we've been working on this. It's been a while. So if there's no questions, a motion would be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement between the Charter Township of Lyon and the Charter Township of Milford to provide water services as is provided in the agreement.
I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Wonderful, thank you guys. It's going to be a great deal. All right, now what was this letter here you wanted to add?
That's the,
This is the agreement.
excuse me, Pulte letter agreement that I sent a copy of today.
Yeah.
And what it is just a First Amendment to the agreement we have with Pulte to add another $50,000 Pulte contribution toward the water tower and to expand the language to include any permits that we might have to obtain or pay for or inspections from
Yeah,
the
this is for all the
township.
permits, inspection
Yep.
fees, or all that, okay. So does everyone understand what that is? Okay. All right, well, motion to be in order, if everyone understands that.
Did you get it today?
Yeah.
I think it's in an email only.
It's, yes.
No,
it's,
it's-
I
It was a late email.
would make a motion to, what would be the form of this, to accept the letter agreement from Pulte modifying the original water agreement.
Carol, do you wanna put the language in
It
the
is,
motion?
it's in electric, yeah.
Yeah, I sent it around to everybody in an email today.
Do you have
This, see the top?
Yeah, no,
This right here?
I have it, I guess that's understanding, is that the correct form is to accept the letter agreement, or what do we actually?
Just to approve it, because it's a First Amendment to the agreement that we have right now with Pulte.
Okay.
But rather than doing a huge contract, it's just a letter agreement.
Okay, so I guess I'll restate this as to accept the letter agreement for the First Amendment to the agreement for provision of water service dated July 6, 2021 between Lyon Township and Pulte Homes, as outlined in the November 1st letter from Pulte's attorney.
Is that good language?
Is that sufficient? Or?
I don't know what happened to my copy.
Right here.
Okay.
Yeah, I brought all this stuff. So, April, can you read back what you just said?
I was giving you the papers, I didn't
Oh.
get it.
Sorry.
So
Okay.
was
Sorry.
your motion to approve the letter
I had said
dated
to-
November 1, 2021?
If you want to just do that, we can shorten it to
First
that. I
Amendment
said
agreement
more words.
between Pulte and Lyon.
Yeah, I had said to approve the First Amendment agreement to the July 6th agreement between Lyon Township and Pulte as outlined in the November 1st letter.
Okay, perfect.
All right, I'll support that.
All right, good job. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, moving on to the sign proposals. I know I've had a couple calls back and forth, and I've talked to Sean on email, and they had a couple thoughts. So I called the contractor, Sean, just to let you know.
Okay.
And I told him about your, what you thought about that. And he said, and I want to get the, so Sean emailed me today and was talking about the top of the sign possibly having the fire department across the top of the sign. Now, the problem that gets in, it gets a little bigger than our ordinance that we have, so that's one of the problems. But if you look at the insignia that we put, or the emblem that we put on top of the fire stations, on both fire stations, that's part of the proposal. Well, they'll actually put the shield and the sign on the building. And I know one time the chief had the same question about losing the fire department's name on top. So I talked to a guy today, and he said they could do a sign similar to the material they're going to use to put the emblem on the building and run it across the top of the cabinet, and it would cost about $1,500 for each one to do that.
John, when you say running across the top of the cabinet,
Lengthwise across, it would say
So it would be
Lyon
a strip
Station,
that we
Fire
have,
Station
okay.
1. But what he said is, he goes, you know, these signs are so amazing that you could actually put that information into the loop. You know, it could come across with the emblem pop up, Fire Station 1. You know, you could have that as part of the loop into the product. He said these signs are so amazing looking when they're put up that you don't want to really put a lot of stuff on them. Now, if you looked at these three bids that we got, the Daktronics, the Watch Fire, and the Think sign, I'll tell you, I had a hard time kind of getting somebody to even install things right now. This Johnson Sign Company, which actually was a recommendation from Brian, he'd used these guys elsewhere, really came out with a really good price. He had the actual video sign companies bid the projects, and that's what you can see on the three proposals. And then his installation was actually the cost. And I know you thought about that, but the proposal is always the same.
Cheaper or not, but on the brick column portion, if we were to kind of shift the numbers down a little bit and just put a smaller copy of the shield.
I was thinking about that too.
Because I think that might look a little better than having a static strip running across the top of our changeable screen.
Yeah, I don't like that. Personally, I don't like it. I don't think people will even notice it. They're gonna look at this.
Notice the what? The shield or the strip?
No, I don't think they'll notice the strip. I think.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, maybe the
instead
shield,
of the
yes.
strip, if we still wanted to have something for
Yeah, but I don't
identifying
think-
it as the fire station on the sign, that would be another way to do it, maybe. But
That's a good idea.
Yeah, the
I mean,
numbers.
the shield right over the
right,
numbers.
It would be
At the top of the
inexpensive to do.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like that too. I think
You
that's
guys
a good
agree?
idea. But you know it's a fire station.
Yeah,
You
yeah, for
cannot not
sure.
know
Yeah,
it's
I
a
mean,
fire station.
I'm fine with it, with or without. I'm just as an alternative to
And with a sign like this, it's gonna draw
Yeah.
attention too, you know?
Yep.
So to get back to the video signs, so they brought out a couple signs to show us what they look like.
They're amazing.
And they had a 10mm pixel sign, and they had a 16mm pixel sign. And Robert, you asked about this also. So basically, they brought the signs out that were the actual size, and they sat them in the place, and we walked up and down the roads to see the quality of the signage, right? You cannot believe the difference between 10 and 16. And he said the way everybody used to run, because the videos are so expensive, these actually, the screens themselves, they would go to 16 because it was a lot less money. He goes, but up and coming is the 10, because that's what everybody's going to, you know, and that's why we got 10 and 16 on the cost. The other thing he said, the Dectronic screen is actually the best video screen you can get. And he said, it doesn't look like it's more expensive here, but per square foot it is. And you're losing, when you do the Dectronic sign, you're losing square footage because it actually has a case around the sign. You can see it has like a cabinet around the sign, whereas the Think sign, you get the whole sign. And you're paying for square footage, and that's why the Think sign comes in at more money. Kind of understand that a little bit?
Right, well, we wouldn't have any need for video anyway, because we're not allowed to put a video on there. It has
These
to
aren't
be a-
video, these are,
But you were saying a video screen, but it's just gonna really display a static image. So
It is.
what I'm saying is that screen may be superior for video, but we're gonna have
No,
static
you-
images.
No, Sean, you wouldn't believe how different.
even between the two
Just to
10mm
have a
models, because
picture.
I totally agree with going with the 10mm over the 16 for
Yeah.
future proofing, but
It's much different. I mean, you wouldn't
You'd
even
be
believe it.
surprised.
And I guess what I mean is you're saying the Daktronic sign is more per square foot, but
Yeah.
you're saying that's the best sign.
But
I'm
it's the
saying
best
is
sign, yeah.
you're not advocating for that one.
No,
Yes.
I am, because he said the difference in the Dectronic sign and the Think sign is the software that runs them.
Right.
Oh, I see.
And he said
Okay.
the software
Yeah, I
is
know.
so user-friendly on the Dectronic sign, it would be easy for everybody to use it, where these other ones take some time to learn.
is
Yeah.
this...
And they're much more powerful.
They'll
too. You
come,
can do
and this
more
will
things.
come out of PEG funds. We can't use
Totally
it for.
information.
I mean, we don't need a NASA engineer to have to, I mean, we want to make sure everybody can run these things, so even me.
So this is remotely configurable, obviously, so
Yes.
if we get that part-time media person, they can switch it over or something. We don't have to make these guys run outside and swap out some letters for us.
Well, the nice thing too is the fire department signs are falling apart. The insides, the rails are falling apart. They don't have numbers, they're using 6s for 9s and 7s for whatever. They're just trying to use everything. But we can share information, which is so amazing. I mean, you can run loop after loop after loop.
I
and
guess
you
that's
can
what I was trying to
advertise
get to was, is it something where, we could add content from here, they can add content
Yeah,
from there?
absolutely. It's all,
Gotta be able
yeah,
to-
it's all remote.
I think he said 7 or 9, didn't he? They loop at a time.
He said you could put 100 if you want, but
Yeah.
they say 7 to 9, you don't want to get lost in the muddle. But you can run as many as you want.
Very
Paying
nice.
as
So my family likes to see how many runs there are for the year, so I was told when discussing this at home that as long as, I should vote for this, as long as that we still are displaying the number of runs every year, or monthly.
That can
be
be
a
easier
cons-
to do
part of the
that.
motion? We have to, we're required to.
Maybe that can just be a little counter in the corner that's always there.
Click, click, click.
Like the national debt clock, yeah.
No, my only question on this one is kind of for Brian, but just, you guys are going through the sign ordinance, anything, and just making sure we're all copacetic with that, or if they have to go to the ZBA to get a variance.
These are in the, if we don't put a bunch of extra things on top, these work.
Okay.
If we do, then we do.
Looks like the Dectronic sign's a touch smaller than the existing
It
sign.
is. It's because
Just
of
a
the
touch.
cabinet that goes around the outside.
It's nice.
It's a beautiful sign.
Okay. So we think the quality and the software and everything outweighs the smaller surface area.
That's right.
It's not a lot smaller, but it is smaller. That's why it's less money. If it was the same size, it'd be more.
I mean, as long as you think it's still good to fit all the information.
I think the Daktronic sign is the best sign out there.
Okay.
Well, and I think it's important to note that these come from our cable peg funds, and they're very restricted. We can only use them for things like this. So this is not coming out of the general fund. This is coming out of a very restricted pool of, I guess, cable revenue funds. So this would be the kind of thing we'd want to spend that on.
And it's a project we've been looking at
Oh
in
my
some
God.
form for another for quite a
John
while.
Bell will fall
John
off his
Bell
chair.
loved us.
Been trying to do this
He
forever.
really did. He'd be very happy.
So that's kind of what we have, and that sign came in, if you've seen it on there, I think it was like 78,000. So we put 80,000 into the peg fund budget. Where's the
That's
deck?
very good. Isn't it 73, right?
John, with the additional room, the difference between the 78, 180 and the 80 approved, or that you're seeking approval for, can we look at some options of putting the shield on the column?
Oh, yeah.
And maybe, I don't know if you guys, those numbers, I don't know if you want to try to switch out those numbers or use some different numbers. They look pretty ugly.
Bad.
We'll
They're
clean it
old.
up.
I'm just saying that
Clean it up.
the numbers need to maybe be spruced up a little bit too. If we're doing all this for the sign, we should probably get a recommendation to really
Well, this guy
spend an
here,
extra couple $100 on.
this guy's a really nice guy, and,
Yeah.
and, I mean, I'll tell you, he tried so much talking to us. We were talking about putting a sign in the front of the hall here. He said there is absolutely no place to put it, that you would pay so much money for the footings and all the, getting the electricity out there. You're saving all that money by using the fire stations, already have all that.
I guess that's a good thing. Just we're sure that the base of the signs are
Yep.
still solid and we don't need any. Okay.
Yep, they're all good.
All right. Well, I'm ready if everybody else is.
And we, like I say, if it goes over, if you give us 80,000, it comes in at 78, we may be able to get some extra things for that money, and if it goes over, I'll just come back and let you know. And, show you what they're willing to do, or what they can do.
Sounds good.
So, okay. All right. I'll make a motion to accept the proposal from Johnson Sign Company to install the Daktronic electronic message signs at the fire stations for a amount not to exceed $80,000 from the PEG funds.
I'll support.
Okay. We have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great meeting. I think that concludes. Does anyone have any comments they'd like to make, or?
Nice job.
No,
Yeah.
great.
Move right along.
Consider this meeting adjourned.
8:24.